1,000 years after Batman is dead and gone, reduced to a myth by the sands of time, two researchers search through the wreckage to find, hopefully, a way to save them all. A part of the superhero story that is often examined is the idea of a successor. A sidekick growing up to take the mantle of the original, a hero inspired by someone they look up to, or in the more tragic cases, a hero who must continue to march on because nobody could live up to their legend, and without them, the world would crumble into ruin. After all, nobody else can handle threats like they can. They've played this game for a long time, and their villains have evolved with them. A newcomer just cannot keep up. For some heroes, this can go on forever. Many are more than human and their lifespans reflect that. But Batman has always been an exception, because the arguably most important part of his character is his humanity. That much fighting will catch up to anyone, and one man, no matter how legendary, eventually has to stop. This is the entire premise of Batman Beyond as a show, watching a Bruce Wayne who gave everything to the cause try and create a suitable successor out of Terry. In Season 4, Episode 7 of The Batman, Artifacts, they tackle just this. The researchers need Batman's Batcomputer data, because New Gotham is under threat. This investigation itself is a Hail Mary. Batman is a story read to children. It would be like running through the woods and expecting to find Robin Hood. Speaking of the man himself, we get a flashback. Not to the Batman the show is used to presenting us, but a version clearly several decades into the mission. His hair has grayed, he has new scars, the Batmobile has gone from a cool car to a tank. From cool blues to vicious reds, this is a Batman refined to a blade's edge. His body is starting to show wear. He gets chronic headaches and is implied to be slowing down. This becomes evident in his conversation with Barbara. She's usually Batgirl in this show, but some version of the Killing Joke has to have happened in this timeline, because here she is as Oracle, off the field in a wheelchair, acting as the eyes in the sky. This contributes, I think, to Batman's dilemma. Batgirl and Robin are meant to be his successors. But in this version of Batman, he doesn't have his giant bird's nest of like 100 kids and sidekicks. He has the same two people he's always had, and Barbara, despite how awesome she is, cannot help Dick in person anymore. His villains have aged with him. Mr. Freeze is the subject of this particular conflict, and just look at the difference in the way he fills out his suit. This in dramatic comparison to Batman himself, who, up until now, has been hidden in the Batmobile's shadow. He is a giant, but he's slow, like I said. The Batman 2004 puts very specific emphasis on fighting styles. Every major villain and hero fights in their own particular way. You can see just how old he is plainly because he's no longer attempting his usual quick melee. He's staying far back, relying on tools. He asks himself, when did this get so hard? Everything about this version of the future unsettles me because it feels so hopeless to watch. The choice of Mr. Freeze is very intentional. He bathes the battlefield in snow, in this eternal winter Batman has to trudge through, every day, without rest. Despite the action, this scene is not meant to excite you. There is no joy in watching an exhausted man force himself back into conflict again and again. It shows Batman's morals. He cannot stop while he can still save people, which means he cannot ever stop. Back to the future now. The fine details of Batman have been lost. Hilariously, or tragically, depending on how you look at it, they assume Thomas Wayne is the Batman, Bruce's father. They assign Martha Batgirl and Bruce himself as Robin. The reason Batman ever was sanded away by time. An interesting detail here is they call Robin in this story the Red Robin, and the uniform they exhibit isn't the one he usually wears in the show timeline. I'm pretty sure they just mean this is an alternate costume of Dick's instead of implying Tim's existence, but it is a fun nod. Back in the future past, we get to see what became of Dick. Barbara teases that Robin is on his way to help, and Dick corrects her. He's been Nightwing for a decade. He is a very grown adult at this point. Their almost sibling relationship seems to be intact, which is cute. In comparison to Bruce, this is a Nightwing in his prime. He still moves like an acrobat, and his suit allows him to glide. He's become what Robin idolized about Batman. And he's got his humor intact too, which is a bonus. There's obviously an old argument here about Bruce being too old for this. Bruce says he'll pass the torch when the mission is over. Nightwing knows for a fact the mission will never be over. Mr. Freeze is here to collect a special diamond that will allow him to power a ray gun to permanently alter Gotham's weather patterns. His wife is not a subplot in 2004, so he's doing this to create a winter kingdom that he can rule. He is an agent of pure destruction. Freeze ices over Nightwing, another reason Bruce cannot lay down his mission. There are still mistakes. Freeze says that Bruce has given the city all he has to give, and that it is time for him to sleep. In the future, they say what finally did in the Batman has been lost to history. And this is where they finally reveal why they are here. They need Batman's files on his rogues gallery. Because Freeze is back 1,000 years later, putting Gotham into a new ice age. In cryostasis, Freeze has awoken to a world without the Batman, or even anyone left with an understanding of how he worked. There is nobody left to stand in his way. Back at the Batcave, Barbara and Alfred watch with growing worry. The Batman has been frozen solid. With what mobility he has, he orders the Batwing to fire on his position, freeing them from the ice. He returns with a vengeance. While slow, he is still powerful. Using the diamond from the crash, he manages to break Freeze's suit and inject it with antifreeze, negating his ability to fling around the ice. Then he blows him up for good measure. Nightwing congratulates him. No sign of Freeze. But to Batman, that only cements it further. Freeze could still be out there, which means the mission isn't over. We see Freeze crawl into his cryo chamber. And despite the way he was behaving, it's clear that his mission has broken him too. He's missing his legs, crawling around like a robotic spider. And he knows as well as Bruce does that continuing this mission will get him nowhere. They are at permanent stalemate, breaking down more and more until they both implode. So, he sleeps and waits for someone to put him back together in a world without a Batman. And eventually, they do. For this future, everything looks hopeless. There is no record of this monster. They can't even get his name right. They call him Dr. Frost. Nobody knows anything about this terror that has come and rearranged Gotham City. For the future, everything is hopeless. The Batcave still stands because Batman reinforced it with titanium, so it would never collapse. But his computers, his records, his logs, there was no amount of titanium that could fix those. Or was there? Engraved into the walls with each piece of titanium, there is lines and lines of binary code. When scanned by the robots of the future, it can be replicated into a new Batcomputer, designed specifically by Batman to help solve whatever emergencies may have come after his death. With his help, Freeze is defeated, and his mission lives on, even when he cannot, given safely over into new hands. This episode feels so bleak, but there's also this fierce undercurrent of hope. I think it partially feels that way because it is told, like every episode, from Batman's perspective. Oracle and Nightwing seem to be in good spirits, just worried about their pseudo-dad. Bruce is facing the forced end of his current version of his mission. He physically cannot keep doing this. You can hear it in every strike he takes. So the Mr. Freeze fight serves to really make that sink in for him. It's not that they're quite ready yet to change hands. Nightwing, despite being strong, gets frozen. Oracle assumes that Bruce is fine when he's frozen in the ice and doesn't have any way to double check that. If he hadn't prepared the Batwing, he might have actually died in that conflict. Without him, there are still a lot of problems in the chain. No matter how much he trusts them, he's just not ready yet. But as we see from the binary code and the fact that this version of Batman talking in the video that they get from it is the same one from the Freeze conflict, he doesn't age much more without creating his failsafe, meaning he most likely shifted his focus fairly close to this fight. His mission will never be over, but how he contributes to that mission needed to change. And as we can see, by choosing to trust others with his torch, his legacy can live on. That's all for me. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and tell me in the comments below what your favorite superhero stories are so I can check them out. For now, thanks for watching, and good night.